Hello, everybody. My name's Tom Stoukas. Coming to you from Sarnia, Ontario, live. I had, I just erased all my stuff that I had, so I had to start over. Like horrible, but anyway. Welcome to the show. I think we're live. I gotta check. I need to get a producer like Rogan. All right, yeah, we are. I think so. Okay, yeah. Sunday night, and Mark Carney is on the plane to Europe to meet with the French and the British leadership and the King of England. So he's got a busy week ahead. After that, he's going to Nunavut to bolster the Arctic security plan, I guess, his Arctic security plan. And then back to Ottawa. So lots of stuff for him to do. The question when he comes back from Ottawa is like, is he going to call an election or is he going to try and stay in Parliament? That, from what I'm seeing, the reports is that he's going to go call an election because the polls are kind of swinging in their favor. So they want to do it now while the polls are swinging their way. So we should hopefully we find out this within this week coming up. And also the interesting thing, we'll see how Trump treats him, because we all saw how Trump treated Trudeau, and like zero respect, and so it'll be interesting to see how these two interact. Like, it can't be any worse. It can't be worse than the way he treated Trudeau. So we'll see. I don't think it will be. And then, but yeah, they really got the. If you watch the Canadian media, they got they're really backing Mark Carney. Like, they don't even mention Pierre Poilievre. He's like this can do no wrong character right now in Canada at this time of crisis. It's like, oh, it's almost like it was written, a written script. The media is playing their part, and the boomer majority electorate is going along with it. They like what they see, I guess. So yeah, we'll see how he performs in his first week as prime minister once he gets back from Europe. That's what we'll be watching. And obviously, what kind of if they call an election this week, I think that's the big question. So busy week ahead. I'm sure there will be some interesting comments along the way where he goes to France and UK and the Arctic. And then we have Pierre, who not too long ago was considered really being anointed as the next prime minister of Canada. And now they haven't written him off, but it's up in the air. It's not close. Like, it's not a runaway like it was before. So the question for Pierre is, can he turn it around? Can he find his rhythm, get like back that huge lead he had before? And I think this week will be an interesting test, because they're pretty well already in election mode. Sorry guys, my mic's falling on me. they're already on election mode, so whether he can, you know, he's been kind of shuffled aside. People are more focused on Carney, it seems. He put out this video today. We'll look at it. I don't really like it because it's, well, we'll talk about it. So, a lot of grumbling in the Conservative Party. We'll see. Is he in trouble? I don't know. I think he's gonna face, like, this week will be an important week for him to get it kind of regroup, because he's got a bit of a disappointment in the base there on his performance so far. Now that Trudeau's gone and Trump's pulling all this stuff. All right. And then the final thing I was looking at today is this kind of in Twitter or X beef in here between Billboard Chris and Harrison Faulkner over, like, so Billboard Chris is saying, oh, we should take 100,000 if they offer it and sell to the states, so, like, basically become the 51st state. Well, Harrison is saying he's kind of acting like a coward and running away and giving up on Canada. So it's kind of interesting, the responses. Some people agree with Billboard Chris. Some people agree with Harrison. I'm with Harrison. The same ship hasn't sunk yet. And wait till it sinks, I guess. Still salvageable. That's my opinion. So yeah, it's kind of like a divide in the right wing of Canada, because before it was kind of, the division was like on Israel. Either you're like really pro-Israel or you weren't, or you were like a Canada First person. But now it's like, are you either 51st state person or you're not a 51st state person? It's weird. And I'm not talking about the fake Team Canada from on the Liberal side. I'm talking about people who actually like who want to keep Canada as a viable country, but who aren't Liberals, versus people who have given up on the country. So, yeah. Sorry, it's Sunday. People are tired. So, whoa, I'm having all sorts of technical problems. So, we'll look at the start of the day. I just go through the whole day and see what kind of day it's been. So first, the coffee. Next, yes, I saw this first thing in the morning. Best sign I've seen all day. Drop a Canada below for our friends up north. And it's like, Canada's proof the world can be kind, diverse, and breathtakingly beautiful all at once. There's that word, diverse. Yeah, I think that's why we're in the situation we are. Is too much diversity. Sorry, but I'm not. And I saw this article yesterday in the National Post about we should do conscription again. Jeremy had a good post saying, Jeremy McKenzie, let's start with every serving and retired politician under age 55 per CF standards, and then laugh, LOL, and then their kids and extended family. Then the media horrors, but that won't happen since the draft would be canceled the moment a politician is faced with a real consequence for once. Yeah. Yeah, nobody. Well, the ones going, the ones promoting all the war, can are the last ones that are going to bother going. All right, next post here. Pierre Poilievre's two main talking points were Trudeau sucks and axe attacks. Now Trudeau's gone and the consumer carbon tax is reduced to zero. Many Canadians are now asking what's the difference between Liberals and CPC. Yeah, so this is what we were talking about. Carney's going to show he's like prime ministerial by doing these trips and going to Arctic, and then he can come in and call an election, like kind of glide into an election as a prime minister doing stuff. And Pierre is kind of flat-footed, and he's still trying to paint Carney as the carbon tax guy, saying, playing all these old clips of him praising the carbon tax, saying, basically he's pulling a fast one. So that's the strategy. I've seen a few election commercials for Pierre for the Conservative Party, saying how he's going to win the election. If he wins the election, he'll just do the carbon tax again. So it could get nasty, the election, hopefully. They need to grow a spine, the Conservatives. So, yeah, he's still trying to paint Carney as the carbon tax guy, which he is. But they both are, really. It's just one's not as passionate about it, that's all. Uniparty blob. All right, next post here. This is good about how many Canadians basically I'm sorry, guys. This stupid thing. The worst time today. No, basically he's saying how Canadians too many Canadians watch the news and believe it. So that needs to stop. But this is the thing in Canada, it's the boomers with the real estate, the high home prices, are deciding the election. At the provincial level, the federal level, they're deciding right now. Because they're the ones who go and vote. They're the ones who support, like, get in line on election day and go to vote, while the young people sit around and don't vote. So until that changes, the news, the media, and the elites in Canada will easily control the policies of this country. I think they got at least boomers, at least 2 elections to control. So I guess we just have to hold steady until then. But yeah, they still watch the news, the boomers here. I saw this. Business leaders call for 8 million migrants to replace dead Ukrainians. So it's like that's the Great Replacement Theory Ukrainian edition. So instead of just replacing, like, outnumbering the current population, they just kill everybody and bring in foreigners. That's too bad what happened. Next post. I like this post about the boycotting the U.S. And it's like basically saying everything in Canada is already U.S. owned. right down to the Tim Hortons. So it's kind of ridiculous to really try. It's kind of a waste of time. We've got better things to do. I haven't gotten onto that. I look at the price, whatever I can afford, whatever I think's the best price. I'm not. I guess I'm not a patriotic person, but I am. There's other ways to show it. A little bit on Ukraine, which is still going on. We helped destroy Syria. We helped create a power vacuum for a slave trade in Libya because they couldn't control Gaddafi. Ukraine sacrifices men in an attempt to ruin Russia for America and the Bolsheviks who control it. Whoa, am I wrong to say every war in my lifetime was a lie? No, war is a racket. Usually every excuse for a war is a lie. Sorry. Because Carney's kind of pro. I guess he talked to Zelensky, so he doesn't seem as Slava Ukraini as Trudeau, but he probably still is, but he doesn't yell it out like Trudeau. Okay, next post here. This is a good post, and this is the thing with is Canada has been in a trade war with itself for decades by restricting the flow of goods between provinces through regulation. We can't even build a pipeline through Quebec because they say it threatens their sovereignty. Does Canada actually think it can win a trade war with the U.S.? So, yeah, they've been talking about free trade within Canada for 30 years, and it still hasn't happened. If anything, it's gotten worse. So, yeah. Forever they've been talking about it. I don't think they'll fix it anytime soon. And then another good post here. Oh, someone deleted it. Okay. So I guess it's not a good post. And next post here was the Globe and Mail. I hate the Globe and Mail, but I love the headline. Doug Ford is kind of a retard. So the headline is Doug Ford mistook Ontario's electricity exports for a bazooka. He found they're more like a squirt gun. So, pretty cool headline. I don't know if we can read the article. It might be paywalled. No. Will they let me read it? He's been quiet, Doug Ford. Muzzled, I say. I don't know who muzzled him. I think either Carney muzzled him or the U.S. muzzled him, threatened him, shut him up. But it could have, who knows? I'd like to hear, like, where are reporters? Like, I'd like to hear what's going on. I want to hear more stuff going on, you know. Like, why is Doug Ford all of a sudden falling off the map? So, Ontario Premier Doug Ford followed up his bellicose threats on energy exports this week by quickly retreating, demonstrating the limits of electron diplomacy. When he first announced a 25% surcharge on electricity exported to the United States, Mr. Ford said it would remain in place indefinitely. If the U.S. escalated, he would halt transfers completely until the threat of tariffs is gone for good. Ontario won't back down, he declared on Monday. Yeah, I remember he was on every channel talking tough, like Rambo, on the U.S. talking tough. and like every day, constantly, and he just got batted down. So we went from saying Ontario won't back down on Monday, not that long ago, only last Monday, a week ago. But U.S. President Donald Trump escalated on Tuesday, vowing to double steel and aluminum tariffs. That very afternoon, Mr. Ford announced he'd withdrawn the surcharge after U.S. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick granted him a meeting, and it seems nothing else. So this is looks like we're getting some skitty background on this Washington trip of Ford. Other provincial governments, including BC, Quebec, and Manitoba, have mooted using electricity exports as leverage in the trade conflict. Mr. Ford's backpedaling suggests it's not the bargaining chip the premiers imagined it to be. And why? This is a funny story. I'm liking it. Maybe this is the end of Ford. To begin with, statements by Mr. Ford and his officials suggest that they either fundamentally misunderstood the importance of Ontario's electricity exports to the Americans, or else had hoped to make them seem more consequential than they truly are. Yeah, like if you just do a ask Grok, say, hey, how reliant is the U.S. on Ontario exports? It would tell you right away. It's not that reliant. It's a more of an inconvenience if they cut it off than a disaster. Okay, so could have grokked it. I'm talking about the media too, not just Doug Ford. I think Doug Ford knew this. They just lied to the Ontario voters to get another majority. Lied. All right. It's a good article. For example, Ford government repeatedly said that 1.5 million homes and businesses in New York, Michigan, and Minnesota receive power from Ontario. The Premier went so far as to claim that Americans would see up to $100 in additional charges on their monthly power bills. The Globe and Mail, which is all bullshit. All you had to do was Grok it, and Grok would have said it was bullshit. So really, I don't understand why the media in Canada wouldn't have just grokked it and said, hey, Mr. Ford, this is kind of like... Anyway. Okay, so the Globe and Mail asked Ontario officials to explain whose bills the Premier was referring to and the basis for Mr. Ford's figure. No response was provided over a 4-day period. Spokesperson for Energy Minister Stephen Leachy clarified that Ontario doesn't power those 1.5 million homes directly. Rather, it's an estimate of how many the province's total annual exports could theoretically power. I knew that, but the media kept printing that 1.5 million figure, which they knew too. Media sucks. During the election campaign, it would have been good to call him out on this kind of rhetoric. And he's damaged Ontario as a result. So it's an estimate. So the distinction matters, really. That's what I was saying the whole time. Ontario would have greater leverage if American homes actually depended on its power. At first blush, Canada might appear to be an electricity exporting superpower. According to the U.S. Energy Information Administration, Canada has consistently exported far more electricity to the U.S. over the past 2 decades than it has imported. But take a closer look and it's clear neither country has the other over a barrel. Yeah, like we already knew this. It's energy goes there, energy comes here. It depends on, sometimes they have surplus, sometimes they don't. He totally distorted the ability to influence the electricity market in the States, and nobody called him out on it. So electricity exchanges across the U.S. and Canada, historically each other's largest electricity trading partners, remain relatively small, representing less than 1% of their respective total generation. So less than 1%. Like I said again, all you do is grok it, and you would have known Ford was full of shit. I knew he was full of shit. All right. So they say New York's more reliant on Canadian power. But they're not. But they don't need Canada's energy if they have enough reserve requirements. So Mr. Ford's threats did bother some politicians. In a post on X, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz claimed the surcharge would affect power bills in his state. The surcharge was enough to induce Mr. Trump to commit to declaring a national emergency on electricity within the threatened area. Within the electricity sector, though things look different, the Michigan Public Service Commission said in a statement it wasn't aware of any utilities in that state that buy Canadian electricity. And so basically, they're saying we don't really use that much Canadian power, which it was a well-known fact. So basically they lied, I think. Or they presented a much different case. It's a long article here. Holy shit. I just want to see what they say about Ford here. All right. So basically they're saying it's kind of a nothing article. All they're saying is what you could have found out on your own. That whatever Ford was saying about cutting off energy to states, like there's no switch, there's nothing. We send them power that we're going to waste anyway. And the Globe and Mail is calling him out on it. He's hiding now. He hasn't been on TV, he hasn't been anywhere. He's barely tweeting. He's a coward. All right, next post. They really bombed him. Squirt gun, I like that. Next post. I think this is about Mark Carney. This is a response. I responded to this post. It says, tonight I found out my conservative brother and his wife are big fans of Carney. Poilievre is sunk. Now, maybe this guy's lying. Maybe it's not true, but I can't see it. Like, it's not really out of the realm of possibility because he does have that appeal as like a accomplished scholar and stuff, something that appeals to some of the conservative, more of the center conservative party base. So it's not out of the realm of possibility. So I said Mark Carney's attempting to do two things in order to thread the needle of Canadian politics. First, he's trying to keep the crazy left-wing voters appeased with his carbon mumbo-jumbo and his defense of woke globalist ideologies. Like he doesn't say anything bad against immigration or any of the globalist stuff. So he's trying to keep the crazy left-wing, and then he's trying to appeal to centrist conservatives. You know, the more of the center centrist conservatives. He appealed to them as like an experienced leader who can deal with Trump in trade talks and, you know, get better respect from Trump than Trudeau. And the crazy thing is, Pierre Poilievre is standing back, letting him get away with it so far. Like, he's not really has an effective strategy to counter Mark Carney. I mean, he had a good strategy to counter Trudeau, but he's not. And it's still early, but he seems to let Carney scoop up all the available votes that are needed here. But we'll see. I don't know. I said Canada needs a real opposition party because, you know, they did the same thing under Aaron O'Toole and Andrew Scheer. They're wishy-washy. Liberals weren't, and they got beat. And the way it's going, people are worried it's going to happen again. So there's Carney heading to Europe today for his first foreign trip as PM. I just want to see where he's going first. Is he going to France first? So he said, this is the thing he posted. Oh, God. Carney spoke with European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen. I'm just trying. It didn't say. I think he's going to France first, but I don't know. So there, he's probably in there. He's probably there by now. All right. Here's the video Pierre's set out again. Try to get his mojo back. But I didn't like it because it's wishy-washy. It's got some, I don't know. The thing that I think, I said I'm going to watch this video. And I'm going to, with an open mind, and get my gut reaction. And then this is what I wrote. I said, because, you know, I'm willing to give him a fair shot, but over and over again, he continually disappoints. So I say, Pierre. Oh, hold on. All right. Pierre Poilievre says in this video, the Canadian promise. This is the thing. He says the Canadian promise. I didn't know there was a Canadian promise. Canadian promise not to screw up the country. That should be the promise. So Pierre Poilievre says in this video that the Canadian promise is that anyone from anywhere can do anything in Canada. It sounds pretty much what Justin Trudeau was selling in the post-national state BS. The rest of the video is empty slogans with fake flag waving. Canada is controlled by the uniparty blob. So yeah, it's like he said in the video. You'll see the video right now. He said, anybody from anywhere can do anything. And maybe he's referring to people within the borders of Canada, but there's like millions, like over 5 million people here who aren't citizens. So he's pretty well, like, you get the idea. Like, it's basically saying Canada's, anybody can come and become a Canadian, you know, like, and I don't think that's what his base wants to hear. So let's watch this video. It's only 30 seconds. Oh.
Binds us together is the Canadian promise. That anyone from anywhere can do anything. That hard work gets you a great life in a beautiful house on a safe street wrapped in the protective arms of a solid border defended by brave soldiers under a proud flag. To preserve that flag and its promise, we must work together, fight together, and win together. That is what it means to put Canada first.
All right. So that's just a little clip. Again, the first part where he says anybody from anywhere can do anything in Canada. Didn't like that. Again, it sounds like Trudeau's it's a globalist thing, attack this country through this kind of talk. And then the other stuff, no mention of immigration. Just like no really details. I know you can only say so much in 30 seconds, but just a lot of gloss. And then that part kind of ruined it from the start for me. Because, we got an open border problem, and here you are saying anybody from anywhere can do anything here. That's kind of weird. It's kind of weird thing to say. Kind of dumb thing to say, really. But this is his he's trying to be like the patriotic Canadian leader. And I just don't buy it. I don't feel it. I'm not feeling it. All right. Next post. Just more. Seen a lot of stuff about how totally bought off Trump is by Israel. He ain't playing 5D chess. I think they own him, but whatever. Got Canada to worry about. Next post. Our government did more to shut down small and medium-sized businesses during COVID than they did to shut down meth labs operating in Canada. Oh, yeah. They went all Gestapo on us. At the height of it, you couldn't sneeze without getting arrested, it seemed. All right. Next post. This is funny, actually. Maxime Bernier calling out Pierre. Pandering Pierre. That's a good nickname. Can you believe that Pandering Pierre issued a statement on Hola Mohala, a Sikh festival that features displays of Gatka, horse riding, and Sikh martial arts? He is a fountain of knowledge on foreign cultures and traditions. It's hilarious. He's right. I agree with Maxime Bernier. Once you start saying to every ethnic groups various holidays, you're going to spend your whole year just doing this, writing out these letters. It's kind of a joke. It's just vote pandering. It's just begging for votes. Ridiculous. And it just encourages kind of ethnic enclaves. So I said pandering Pierre Poilievre, like PPP. All right. And this is another thing I have a problem with the Conservative Party. This girl, Melissa Landsman, she's a total Israel hawk. I mean, she's Jewish. I expect her to support her country, I guess. But she was a Walmart lobbyist during COVID, so she's that type of person. And she's the deputy leader of the Conservative Party. And I was like, basically, if Pierre wins the election, she'll be deputy prime minister. And like, what has she done? Like, I looked at her Wikipedia. I don't think she's done anything amazing to warrant her becoming deputy prime minister. And and she's obviously got all this thing going on too with the LGBTQ community. So that's another, what's going on with this Conservative Party. It's more of a globalist party. People gonna realize. I think they're starting to realize it. All right. Now, We got, in all fairness, we watched. Hold on one sec. We watched Pierre's video, so let's watch Carney's. I think he put this out today. So you kind of get this election feeling already, even though they haven't called it. And like I said, from what I've been following, it's likely we're going to have an election. He's not going to get Jagmeet's help to stay in Parliament, to stay in power. He's going to call an election. That's my opinion too.
Canada has been built by the strength of its people. From our mines to our ports, from our logging roads to our city streets, we're strongest when we are united. When we can cheer for different teams and still be on one team, when it counts.
When we come together, we build things that last because we are Canada strong.
So yeah, we got Canada strong and Canada first. Canada strong, Canada first. Oh my God. So there's two. Is that right? Yeah. We got two globalist parties. One's Canada strong, one's Canada first. Oh my God. Is it? Let me see. Yeah, Canada first, Canada strong. Oh my God. That's hilarious. New PM Mark. Okay. So yeah, that's kind of their patriotic videos, and then they're going to have their attack ones against the others. I saw Pierre's attack one here, I think. So he's basically trying to keep Carney stuck on as the carbon tax guy, even though he's getting rid of the carbon tax for the consumer. They still think, I agree, like he's going to do some trickery to keep it going.
Approve of that decision.
So this is the negative Pierre ad against Carney.
Who's ready to stand up for Canada with me?
You were the vice chairman at Brookfield Asset Management prior to
The
that.
chair. I was the chair.
Sorry. In the fall, they moved their head office from Toronto to New York. Did you approve of that decision, and what does this say about your commitment to growing Canada's economy and betting on Canada?
Okay, so this one was an attack on his, like, being the. See, this is a bad thing to attack him on, to be CEO of Brookfield, because Donald Trump will, like, you're making him. They're attacking him for being basically a CEO of this big company, but given what's going on with the trade wars and Donald Trump's background in big business deals and all that, he's actually promoting Mark Carney here. Pierre's promoting Mark Carney as a guy more capable of dealing with Trump than he is, by saying, oh, he ran this multi-billion-dollar company and now they're in New York. And you're basically pumping him up for dealing with Trump. He's going to say, well, maybe he should deal with Trump instead of you, Pierre. So I don't know who's running conservative strategy, but it's. I think there's going to be some firings coming up there, little shake up. Because I never thought of that. The more they attack them on Brookfield, right now the Canadians would prefer a seasoned like chairman. Like Brookfield's a huge company. Not saying I support Mark Carney. I don't. All right. I thought I had the post on the final thing before we go is there's a little feud going on between Harrison Faulkner and Billboard Chris. Billboard Chris is ready to join the U.S. and Harrison Faulkner says, you should be ashamed, Chris. You should be ashamed. everything you say in this. So, okay, this is how it starts. Billboard Chris, and you know, Billboard Chris actually blocked me because I asked him, hey, Billboard Chris, you purport to care about kids. You purport to care about children, but you don't, you know, what do you think about the children of Gaza getting blown up, right? And he blocked me. And I was like, I didn't say it bad. I said it respectfully. But he's basically, that's a SPAC story with me and him. Okay. So it started as Billboard Chris is basically saying we should take $100,000 each to join the U.S. And Harrison Faulkner's like, your loyalty and patriotism is worth $100,000 U.S. And then he says, sad. Okay, so I could do a whole hour on Billboard Chris. So, and then he's like, he's kind of this guy's a drama queen. Like, he wears a sign on his friend and gets bounced around by left-wing retards until the cops show up. And he's this drama queen. Look at this. He writes this huge response to Harrison. Oh, my God. Let's see what he says. My loyalty to what, Harrison? My loyalty is to my family, not to a system of government that is failing and has no hope of redemption anytime soon, where every political party is corrupt and we don't have democracy, where people get fired from their jobs for calling a man, where not a single member of parliament will speak up about the greatest child abuse scandal in medical history, but instead call it a crime of conversion therapy. So what? He's a one-issue guy, this guy. Holy. So basically, he's given up on Canada. Okay, I get it. And he's a weak man. I don't need to read his stuff to know he's. So then Harrison says, everything you say in this post can be said about the United States. If you want to be American so badly, then just leave. All right. And I had to jump in. I said, of course, Zio shill Billboard Chris wants to give it up to the USA, which is controlled by Israel. I hate that Canada is controlled by globalists, but I'm not ready to give up fighting yet. And Billboard Chris is a coward who took the shekels. I mean, I'm being symbolic here. Like, he might not actually took shekels, but you get the idea. Because he's this total Zionist shill. Like, he has a very weird stance because he says he's for children. He's protecting children, but from being mutilated. But then when kids are actually getting mutilated on our TV screens, he doesn't. I'm not going to talk about that. So, not really worried about what Billboard Chris thinks of Canada. A little skinny billboard, sandwich board guy. Now he's just doing it for clicks. Okay. But it leads to like there's a lot of people that feel the same way, that Canada is not fixable. So that's something that needs to be reversed, because I don't think there's a reason to panic. It can always be fixed. Anything can be fixed. It depends on how much you're willing to pay. So, yeah. You gotta be kind of. Internet never forgets. I'm not gonna give up on Canada. Yeah, I mean, at some point I might have to be exiled. I flee for my life, but that's about it. So, yeah. This should be interesting, though. Like, what are we going to join Europe? Who knows? So many questions. We'll see if the Faulkner Billboard Chris beef keeps going. I like Harrison. I think he's right. We just got to keep the young people from being brainwashed, and hopefully by the time the boomers stop voting, they'll be ready to take over. And then fixing the country. Get to fixing the country. All right. I think that's it. The day in review. This week should be a very fun week. So maybe we'll find Doug Ford too. Who knows? So until then, I will talk to you guys again Wednesday. See you then.